Okay, so I wanted to finish today what these two parts concerning in particular some important methodology that are useful for making every characterization of enzyme, regulatory element, okay, of metabolic pathway. So the two main techniques that are now well used correspond to one that is called RNA interference. It was a fantastic, tools that emerged 10 years ago, perhaps, yes, it was about 10 years ago. And it was the beginning of the story. I don't know if you have ever heard about this story. Was this story of Petunia? The idea was these flowers naturally is quite pink, and people wanted to increase the amount of anthocyanin in the petal in order to have a more strong color of pink until violet. Okay, to have different variety of this plant. At this moment, the metabolic pathway that lead to anthocyan production was quite well known, not all, but at least at the main point. In particular, they have observed that you know now very well, this compound, the p-coumaroic-A, is a sort of platform from which different branch are able to start, and in particular, this branch that it is initiated by the activity of the chalcone synthase, okay, that lead to several flavonoids, including the anthocyanin. So the idea was how we can manage some engineering in this plant in order to increase the amount of this enzyme, chalcone synthase, in order to, oriented the flux to this particular part of the branch, the complex branch. So they do something really simple. They take the gene of the plant, okay, and they introduce by agrobacterium strategy several other copies of the same genes. Meaning that if you have not only one, but 2, 3, or 4 genes of the same enzyme, you will have higher amount of transcript and by consequence, higher amount of proteins. So they do that. They regenerate several transgenic plants. And what they observe, not for all, but for a large part of this plant, is that the flower, instead to be pinker, okay, they are completely white. So means that in fact, it is like if they were not be able to produce any anthocyan. So they control lots of things. In particular, they control that in this transgenic plant, they have all the copy of the gene without any mutation, and it was the case. So they were a little bit surprised, and they start to verify if these genes are well transcribed. And at this moment, they observe something that was quite wrong, is that at the beginning, yes, they can see the transcript appear, but in a little time, they are completely destroyed. So what happens? It was they said a co-suppressed systems, because in fact, all the mRNA of the transgene and also the mRNA of the normal gene are completely destroyed, during this period of time that leads to the absence of cyanidin and anthocyanin. What it is the explanation, now we know that very well, is this. In particular, it is the fact that two men have received the Nobel Prize for having discovered this system, that it is a natural system of defense of the plant from, in particular, viruses, okay? And they have found how to manage this knowledge to propose some tools, molecular tools, in order to control possibility to silence a gene in particular. So thanks for them. And what is exactly the system, the natural system? It is quite simple. In fact, when some virus invade, okay, the plant cells, mainly they have a double-stranded RNA. We have seen that yesterday. And in fact, it is not normal to have a double-stranded RNA. So the plant cell is able to detect this type of abnormal RNA. And at this moment, when they detect them, they initiate a process, a natural process that occurs in the cell. This process is described here. So when this double-stranded RNA is detected, there is a particular protein complex. I think there is at least 3 or 4 protein that make this particular complex named BISER. This complex attach the double-stranded RNA, and in this complex there is some endonuclease that are able to cut in smaller pieces of RNA, what it is called small eRNA, and after that, when all these mRNA, double-stranded RNA have been cutted, all the little pieces of ARN, double-strand 2, are in the cytosol. And at this moment, another complex of protein named RISC taking charge this small double strand of RNA and is able to separate them and to maintain in the complex only one copy of this double strand. And what happens after? This complex, is able to attach to different mRNA that share the complementary sequence of the small RNA that is attached to the complex. So they are able to check all the mRNA, and when they found the complete hybrid mRNA, they stop and they are attached. And at this moment, there is also some endonuclease in this complex, and these endonucleases are able to cut the mRNA. What happens is that, in fact, when you have a long double-strand RNA, you may have a large population of small, mRNA, double-strand small RNA, and so you can generate this type of complex, lots of one, with different small sequence of a same mRNA. So you can increase the probability that this complex could find any mRNA that share a little sequence, with the small pieces that are in this system. And in fact, this system is not able to distinguish the mRNA that come from the normal gene, endogenous gene, than from the other genes that have been added, in the plant genome. So by this way, all the mRNA encoding, for example, here, chalcone synthase, are completely hydrolysated. So by this way, it is impossible to have chalcone synthase and thus to have all the metabolic pathway leading, for example, to anthocyanin. So it was interesting to see that, in fact, it is quite a simple system that occur normally in the plant cells. The idea was how we can manage that to specifically target a gene we want to silence it in order to study, for example, the functional activity of the genes in a particular system, such as, for example, a metabolic pathway. So what can we do? It's quite easy now to understand, but at the moment they proposed it was really interesting, is that we can create artificial double-strand RNA corresponding to the sequence of the gene we want to silence it. So means that we create an artificial sequence, or we clone the gene that we want to silence it and we extract the sequence, the cDNA sequence, and we artificially transform the plant cell to produce this specific mRNA. But what happens in the construction of this mRNA? I can show you here. What is it? The construct of the sequence of we want to introduce in the plants is like that. For example, we can imagine we want to silence this particular gene, a CYP, a P450 enzyme, for example. So we construct a system in which we put the sense sequence encoding the protein, but we also introduce what it is called the antisense sequence of the same protein, meaning that the mRNA that could be produced from this construction, okay, could have the two sequences that are complementary. So naturally, it is organized as we call an hairpin, because there is a small part of hybridation with both of two sequences. So by this way, we can artificially, in the plant cell, produce double-stranded RNA that correspond to a particular gene we wanted to silence. Is it okay for everybody? So by this strategy, you see, we can modify easily the cell genome. We can produce this sort of hairpin, okay, with this double strand. In the cytoplasm, this system is recognized by the natural disser system that occur normally in the plant cell. And after, all is stimulated, means these mRNA are cutted in small double-strand mRNA. They are taken charge by RISC. They avoid one apart. And after this complex mRNA, small mRNA with RISC, are able to check all the mRNA that are in the cell, and they can, okay, hydrolyze a large part of the targeted mRNA. So it was a useful tool to study, for example, the functionality of one particular enzymes that, for example, have been just discovered, and you want to see in which, for example, a pathway this enzyme could be involved. So you can generate specific plants, transgenic plants, including this type of construction. And after, you have just to check if they are able to produce the mRNA or not. And for the plants that are not able to produce or to maintain, okay, mRNA, because they produce mRNA, but after this are destroyed, okay, what happens about the metabolic, the metabolomic, okay, of these plants? Do they are able to produce always the same metabolite, or some branch could be completely stopped, and in this case, you may have another metabolomic distribution, okay, in this plant. So by this way, you can connect a functional activity of the protein you have targeted, and also in which branch, in which type of metabolic pathway it can be involved. So there had at this moment a very, very large number of this type of strategy have been developed in order to qualify every type of gene, not only the genes that are involved in metabolic pathway, but also in growth, in development, in all the physiologic process, okay, that occur in plants. It was really something very, very interesting. So what I can propose you is to describe at least two nice examples, okay, that have been done several years ago concerning metabolic pathway, obviously, but with two types of targets. The first I showed concern a protein, an enzyme that is that was discovered at this moment. It is in a particular Panax ginseng. You have some of them are involved in this. Okay, so you have well described the metabolic pathway of the production, in particular, of protopanaxadiol or protopanaxatriol. Okay, there is two types. It's always complex to pronounce all of these molecules. Okay. PPD and PPT is more easier to say, okay? So here there is this particular enzymes that at this moment was discovered, and they wanted to be sure that it is in vivo the good enzyme that is responsible of this bioconversion. So what they do, they have initiated the construction. I show you already this construction, okay, including the good sequence of this CYP protein and the antisense sequence of this cis protein. They have, after having constructed this RNAi cassette, it is like that one, as we call it. You see this cassette is surrounded by the two border, right and left border, that correspond to the pieces of tDNA of the plasmid of Agrobacterium. So means that they have included this construction in the TI plasmid of Agrobacterium. After that, they have transformed Agrobacterium that was now recombinated with this type of construction, and they use these Agrobacterium lines to transform plant cells, in particular of Panax dinchem. They regenerate lots of plants, and what it is here shown, it is some results concerning what happens in this transgenic plant. Alors, in this paper, they have also done some of other type of strategy. I will discuss this with you after. Instead of silencing a gene, we can also overexpress the gene. And every time the two strategies are conducted in parallel in order to see what is exactly the effect of having more activity of one enzyme instead of having less and no activity of this enzyme. So here are the lines, the transgenic plant lines that overexpress the CYP protein, and here are several lines, okay, that have been silenced by a RNA interference strategy, okay, targeting always the same enzymes. What you can see here is that it is some PCR experiment proving that, okay, the marker here, it's a gene that encodes for resistance to against an antibiotic. It is usually the case. So you can verify here that all of your cell lines, plant cell lines, are able to express this particular marker. It is also the case here. It is not the same, but it is also, they have the same role as marker. What it is also seen here is that PCR that target directly the sequence of the CYP protein. And you can see here that this enzyme is expressed because you can find here lots of mRNA that lead to this signal after PCR, while in the suppressed cell line, transgenic plants, you can observe that only in the control, which have not been transformed, okay, you can detect some transcript of CYP protein, but in the all other transgenic line, you can have a different level of expression of the mRNA. This is important because, in fact, when you develop a RNAi strategy, all the plants you regenerate are not able to silence completely the genes. You may have a gradual, okay, effect of this system, which is very interesting because by this way you can see, okay, eventually how modulation of the presence of this enzyme could have an influence on the total metabolic pathway at the end. So here you can see that some of the transgenic line have not the ability to produce any mRNA, while some others have possibility to have some. Okay. So in general, what happens after? We quantified, okay, this transcript because here it's only qualitative, and we want to have a quantitative idea of how many transcripts it correspond. And you can see here in the control there is a lots of mRNA corresponding to the CYP gene, and here only these lines 6-1 is able to have a little bit more RNA than the others. There is never completely no RNA. but you may have a very, very small amount that it is quite equivalent at no one. Okay. You do exactly the same in the plants that you have overexpressed the genes, and you can see that the control have a reference, okay, quantity of mRNA, and here all the plants that overexpress the genes are able to have a higher amount of this transcript. So all the plant cells have been well characterized. What happened now concerning their ability to produce the metabolite that we want to study here, in particular PPT and PPD, both of the two molecules. So some extraction have been done from this plant, analysis of the metabolome have been done, and what you can observe here are the lines that overexpress normally the CYP protein, and here are the line interfered for this particular enzyme. And you can see that in both two samples, you have completely a different distribution between PPD and PPT. This was a very nice experience, meaning that when you overexpress these enzymes, you decrease completely the PPD pool and you enhance the production of PPT, while it is completely the contrary. When this enzyme is silenced, you accumulate lots of PPD and you are not able to produce lots of part of PPT. This was the proof, in fact, that this enzyme in vivo in the plants is able to catalyze this specific step of the pathway. And it was the only way we have to functionally prove, okay, the importance of each enzyme and their role in a particular step of the pathway. So you can imagine for several other enzymes, this is here, it was also done for this CYP between the two other intermediates upper in the metabolic pathway, and it's a long way, a long works, but at the end we will be sure of what enzyme is able to catalyze which step, okay, of the metabolic pathway. That was a very nice example. The second example, perhaps I want to discuss a little bit with you, concern another strategy, okay, and in this case, it is in poppy, opium poppy, okay, that is able to produce a particular latex, and that is in the capsule, okay, of the plant. And in this one, you can find several well-known molecules, such as in particular alkaloids, propanalkaloids, in particular morphine. Here is a simple, okay, metabolic pathway leading to the production of this molecule, in particular here, morphine is here. And at this moment, there was one enzyme that was interesting to verify, to test, okay, as a good candidate for this particular step, because the pathway was at this moment partially known. Now it is better known. Okay, so they wanted to accumulate, morphine. No, it was the contrary. They wanted to decipher, in fact, this part of the pathway. So the idea was, we can generate new cultivars able to accumulate the intermediates of this metabolic pathway in order to have access to a higher amount of this intermediate instead of the final molecule. Morphine, okay, it's well known, but some of other intermediates could have specifically, okay, some interest for that. So at this moment, what their proposed strategy is to silence these particular enzymes that lead in particular with the precursor of morphine in order to accumulate the other, okay, alkaloid, intermediate alkaloid. But what was the problem is that, in fact, this enzyme is a codeine non-reductase named COR. There is a lots of copy of the gene, isogene, okay, in the genome of the plants. So which of these copy will be the best one? It's impossible to decipher. So they decide in the first time to silence all the core protein in order to see the effect of no possibility to have this conversion. Okay, so what can we do when we have, for example, here 7 members of this family that are after organized in 6 class 1 and 1 class 2? So I ask you to use a question. Now you have an idea of the strategy. How can we do to silence all the 7 genes at the same time? If you propose.
There are 7 members or 7 copies of the gene. So what can you do using RNA-ID? We are planning to use that strategy to silence all 7.
At the same time.
Yes.
Not one by one, but all together.
What can you do? Something to really think.
An idea?
The previous step could be silence.
The previous, no. We target only this one.
You have 7 copies of that. And you know now the strategy of RNAi. What should you do? How should you design such that in one go there is a good probability that all 7 will get silenced?
The solution is in the sequence we have to create to induce silencing.
So what can you
imagine? What sequence can we target? Okay, to silence all the genes together. No, not the promoter.
Imagine when you do not know, then what do you do? How design your primers? You look for you look for which regions?
That's right. So we know exactly the sequence of the 7 genes. Okay, we know the sequence. What we can do is to make an alignment. Oh, someone is have the answer?
Consensus sequences of making.
No, what is the right terminology? Alignment sequence is not the right term. So, Jeshri, you were saying something.
I was saying the homology and the sense of sequence.
A little bit more higher for the others.
I was saying about the homology between the 7 genes. You can look for conserved regions.
Absolutely, it is the good answer. We have to compare all the sequence of the 7 enzyme, okay, and we have to find a common sequence of these all enzymes. Because by this way, if we target specifically this small sequence, we will be able to silence all the genes that are able to encode or to make some transcript corresponding, and a part of this sequence will be present in mRNA. This is a good answer, but we need also to verify something else, because by this way, it is not all the sequence of the gene, only a small one, which decrease the probability of having a possibility to have a diverse dister complex, okay? So what we need to verify also at the same times. In particular, for example, if we have the genome sequence of the plant.
Should not be present in any other.
Absolutely. We need to be sure that the sequence we have chosen is quite unique for targeting specifically these enzymes. We need to be sure that there is no other sequence that have the similar small sequence in their whole sequence, because by this way you will be able to silence not only the targeted genes but also other genes that you don't know. So it will be difficult to interpret after all these results. So it is quite easy, because it exists some software that let us to check in a genomes or in a transcriptome, for example, if we have not the complete genome of the plant, if the sequence we have chosen correspond to a good one. And sometimes it's also a way we can ask to the computer, what is the sequence I have to to select to be efficient for this, for example, RNA interference strategy. So it was exactly what have been done in this case. So they used a specific part. I don't remember. It was an intron in a particular localization in all the 7 genes. Here are the construction. You see here sense and antisense, okay, sequence of the fragment of the cDNA corresponding to the core of the first class and the core of the second class. Okay, it was important to target both. Here are exactly the antisense sequence of the same fragment of cDNA. This construct is always bordered by a left and right border, so now we know why this has been included in a TI plasmid of Agrobacterium. Plants have been transformed with this Agrobacterium, and lots of transgenic plants have been generated, okay, according to this method. You see here, the small sequence targeted is really small, 22 base pair. So it means that it can be only the minimum of the famous double-strand small RNA that it is able to complex with the DITER systems and after the RISC systems. There is also some strong promoter, okay, that permit to have lots of expression of this construction. So after that, okay, they make the transformation of the plant in order to have some candidate. They yes, paramomycin is a selected genes encoding for resistance to this antibiotic in order to screen all the plant produce to have those that are resistant to this particular antibiotic in order to select some, okay? And after that, they make several experiments. Here, for example, I show you only what happens concerning the alkaloid contents of the plants that have been targeted, okay, for all of these specifically enzymes. You can see here there is 2 distinguished parts in the metabolic pathway. Here are the precursors. The precursors are reticuline, they are here reticuline, codamine, lodanine, and lodazine, okay? And here are the last part of the metabolic pathway, okay, in which you have the final molecule, morphine, codeine, okay, that are, and also the precursor, ici, thibaine, and also oripavine. In this scale, you can see that the 2 first line correspond to the standards, okay? You can see here all the marks for all of these molecules. They have made both, okay, to have no effect on this chromatography study. And here you have 2 plants that have been not transformed, and you can see they are able to express all the last, okay, molecules, including high amount of morphine, but it is not we want to have, okay? And you can see here at least 3 lines that have been selected according to their ability to have a very low expression of the gene targeted, all of the isogenes. And you can see here that in this 3 line, you may have many accumulation of the precursor, but not all the final product, like morphine and codeine. And only in this one, it is what I say to you, they are not always with the same level of silencing. So in this case, we can see this one is not really silenced. And in this case, we can have production of morphine, but we can see also a very, very high amount of accumulation of codamine, for example, and reticulin. And here, the two other lines are really interesting because they don't accumulate any morphine and also any codeine, which is very interesting because means that they have been completely silenced. And what it is interesting is that these plants, if they are after cultivated to extract, for example, metabolite, we know that the extracts are considerably enriched in these intermediates and they are not contaminated, okay, by codeine and morphine. So by this way, we can completely modulate the type of metabolites that are produced and accumulate in this plant. So depends of what you want to prepare, depends of what you want to purify at the end for several applications, pharmaceutical or foods complement, for example. So here it was one of the most way we could generate some plants that are able to have not exactly the same quality and the same quantity for each intermediate of this metabolic pathway. Okay, all right. So if you are really interested by that, there is a huge amount of publication in different pharmaceutical plants that show how it was easy to modulate, okay, by this strategy. And it is also interesting because as it is a permanent, stable modification, transgenic, so means that all the generation after maintain exactly the same character. So it's like if you create some new variety of your plant, able to produce a new type of extract. The second system I want also to share with you concerning a specific also approaches developed more recently. Today, not all the plants could be concerned by this type of approaches because it is necessary to adapt this technology to each type of plants. It's not so easy to transfer from one to the others. It was more easy with RNA, but this one no. It is also based on the idea to silence a specific gene. And in this case, it was not induced by agrobacterium and the transformation, the classical transformation by agrobacterium, but it is induced by a virus. Okay. And so it concerns only some transient transformation and not stable transformation. So you can imagine it will be really faster than the previous one that need to obtain several transgenic cell or transgenic plants. In this condition, we will have the answer in few days. So this is why this technology has completely changed, okay, the way to study the functional activity of the gene of pathway. So the idea is also to copy a system that exists in the plant cell. We have not invented different things. We have just observed the nature. We have just understand how the nature is able to function. And after we try to develop some specific tools, okay, to reproduce what the nature is able to stimulate in the plant. In this case, okay, the virus, you know, we have already said yesterday how the virus is able to make some disease in plants. And at the beginning, when the virus in the cell, you have seen it can be taken charge by the Dieter risk system, as the RNAi, but also these systems can be also taken charge by another type of system, d'accord, that could lead also to a partial silencing of this pathway. So the principle is always the same. There is a double strand of RNA that it is produced by the virus. This double strand is taken charge always by the same system to produce small, okay, small single strand of RNA in this case. Okay. And this RNA targets the viral RNA and the mRNA of the targeted endogenous plant gene, depend of what we want to do. Okay. What it is interesting is that, in fact, in this case, the viral particles is able to propagate, okay, in all the cell of the leaf, for example. So you can act not only on one cell, but on a large, bigger, numerous cells to silence, okay, the specific gene targeted. So the idea of the workflow is quite easy. You have always to know the sequence of the gene you want to target. By computer, you can design the sequence that could be the best to target it for silencing. And after that, you amplify this fragment in specific plasmid of the virus. Okay, so you enter this sequence in the virus. This plasmid is also used after to sometimes or the virus by itself or the tumefaciens agrobactery. Alors, if it is with agrobacterium, because virus, as I showed to you, sometimes it's difficult to manage with a particular plant. I show you, for example, that apple are quite difficult to infect with several virus. So we need to make an intermediate step. It is for lots of plants, it is also the case. So this is why, in fact, it is not directly the virus we use, but also the agrobacteria that have been transformed with the virus particle sequence. Okay. And after that, you can infiltrate agrobacteria in the plant by vacuum system. I showed you yesterday too. And what you can observe in 2 days or 3 days is that, in fact, where the agrobacterium have been applied, you have some symptom, and in the new leaf of the plant, okay, you may have also this type of symptom. What it is interesting here is that, in fact, it's quite easy to see, because the genes that it is always used as a control of efficiency of this type of silencing is a phytoenzyme. Phytoenzyme is one of the enzymes that occur in the metabolic pathway that lead, for example, to phytol, that it is used to make some chlorophyll. So as when you see here that there is some white zone, okay, means that these cells are not able to produce any chlorophyll, means that the gene, the control gene you have to test here, phytoenzyme, have been well silenced by your construction. Means that if you have made another construction that it is less easy to observe directly, if it is success in this case, in the other case, it will be also a success. And after you can do what you want. So this is exactly what we do currently. Here are the construction of the you see, for example, we use the double RNA of one specific virus I showed you yesterday. So both of them have, for the first one, the phytoen, you see desaturase, for example, and here is a gene targeted by the experiment. We inoculate both of the two constructions to the plant. There is a systemic, okay, propagation of this virus particle, okay. And after, what you observe is that the young leaf are not able to produce, okay, phytol, means that the experience was good. And also you can compare to some all other control that have no transgene, only empty vectors. It's just to see the effect of the manipulation by itself. You can see that here there is no consequence. It's not a mechanistic problem. Okay, it's just a question of the nature of the transgene you have included in your plants. And by this way, after you can compare when you integrate some specific targeted gene. So here are, for example, some of other type of virus used. Okay, I don't want to enter in several details of the technology, because in fact it is adapted at any case. I just want you to understand the global strategy that can be used, because you see we can mix also with Biolistic, with Agrobacterium, depend of the plant, depend of the sensitivity of the plant to the different type of techniques. The idea is at the end we want one that is able to be silenced, okay, rapidly for one specific targeted gene. Okay, here are the control. Here are the plants that have been also treated like that. But you see, we can't observe directly in the leaf something. There is no physical, okay, marker that it is easy to see. So by this way, we have the only solution is to harvest the different leaf and to study the metabolic content in this study, in this leaf. But you have seen now we are able to analyze things at a single cell level. So at one leaf, we have so many material in this case that it is possible to make a very short and rapid metabolomic analysis. In this case, it could be targeted, okay, metabolomic analysis, because we want to know if some of the molecules are produced or not. In case we want to test an enzyme, we don't know where it acts, we make some untargeted, okay, metabolomic analysis in order to have a more larger vision of what are the family of metabolites that are modulated by the suppression of this particular gene in particular. Okay. So here are other just illustration of what you can have at the end of this type of experience between a control and a non-control, and you can have here the amount of different transcript and also different metabolites. One of example was okay, here the use of this type of strategy to characterize in particular one gene that we make about I don't know how many years to find. Okay, it was quite difficult to find it. It's a CYP, means monooxygenase P450, name GO for gisocentine oxidase. Okay, it's one of the intermediate. And what it is interesting is that in fact we didn't know which this enzyme were able to produce or to catalyze as a step. So by combining different VIGS strategy, we have generated some plants, transient transformation, in which you can see a very decrease of the amount of transcripts corresponding to the genes. And in this particular plant, we can see that there is no effect, for example, on serpentine production, but there is a very big effect on catarantine production, meaning that this CYP will occur not before the production of serpentine, but between serpentine and catarantine, okay, production. So it is not the only work that have been done, but step by step, we have limited, okay, by only verifying the production of intermediates, okay, where this enzyme will be able to occur in the metabolic pathway. And what we have found is that, in fact, this enzyme, GO, acts exactly at this moment of the metabolic pathway. Take about 3 years, okay, to identify this enzyme and to characterize all of this enzyme. And it was a very nice result that have been published in Nature Communication, because it was for a long time we are looking for this specific enzymes. What it was also interesting is that we have made this work with a chemist that also proposes different intermediates, d'accord, that have been controlled to be present or not in the metabolite, in the extract, when we have done some metabolomic study. So by this way, you see, we can quickly characterize finally one particular enzymes of metabolic pathway. So when you present some metabolic pathway saying this step is catalyzed by this enzyme, this enzyme, this enzyme, you can't imagine how many times it was needed to have an idea of which enzyme are really involved in this metabolic pathway. But what we see now is that, in fact, by this type of techniques, we can modulate the activity of this enzyme as we know them, and we can modify completely the quality of the extract, meaning the nature of the metabolites that you have in the extract that you can have for a plant in particular. And as you have now well understand, all the metabolites that are for our interest are generally the metabolites that are produced at the end of the metabolic pathway. So always in a very, very, very low amount. So how can we do to orient these metabolisms to accumulate more final or end product of this metabolic pathway is to modify, some of activity of enzyme by overexpressing or silencing other branch in order to have a better flux in a branch we want to enhance. And it is exactly what it is done in this area of metabolic pathway engineering in plant. Okay. So it's nothing. So to conclude this, it's my last slide concerning this. You see that this particular technology, VIGS technology, can be adapted at different level and can be combined also with different other techniques we have already seen. For example, we can monitor the expression of the gene after silencing or before silencing. We can have also some differential gene expression analysis between a leaf that seems to be an old one without any modification and a new one with modification. So you can, at this level, have very fast, in a very fast manner, material to do this differential analysis of gene expression. So you can do some transcriptomic activity on this. As I it was the last step of the workflow I show you. It was also the example I show you. You can functionally characterize the activity of your enzymes. Okay. And on the other type, it could be also a way to analyze phenotype modification, because you can also analyze your global plant, the tissue, to see if there is some impact also on the plant by itself. That could be also important to have, in particular when the targeted plant is not a medicinal one but a crops. Okay, you can have different other interest on this plant. You can make some metabolomic analysis. Okay, I'll show you. And also you can have also access of the susceptibility with different susceptibility tests in order to check the resistance of your plant, modified plants, to environmental condition, disease, pathogenesis, but also climatic character, such as temperature, salinity, drought, and so on and so on. So by this way, you can easily modify the plant at one gene, and you can put after your plant in different conditions in order to see if the silencing gene induce more resistance or less resistance, for example, to a particular character. So you can imagine that this technology, that it is fast, could be applied for several types of questions that not concern only metabolic pathway. So I hope you have quite understand what I wanted to talk about. Okay.